Jack Ma is not only the most famous person in China, but until very recently, he was also the richest. But Jack disappeared. It has been more than 2 years since Ma went missing. Jack Ma was once China's most celebrated entrepreneur, innovator and billionaire. Jack's performance skills were extraordinary. Alibaba's stadium-sized company celebrations were turned into events equal to the Super Bowl halftime show, and Ma himself was always at the center of attention. In other words, Jack was a rock star. But he flew too close to the sun, and with just one public speech, Ma has become a liability for the country, and even more importantly, to its president, Xi Jinping. That speech cost him everything: his company, his career, and his reputation. Not to mention, it cost his shareholders a staggering amount of $344 billion. But that was not the worst of it. Immediately after the now infamous speech, Jack disappeared. Ma started Alibaba 21 years ago from his Shanghai apartment and built it into one of the world's largest companies. Alibaba is like the combination of eBay, Amazon and PayPal all rolled into one. And before Jack decided to stand for what he believes, its market value was $1 trillion. As a result of his business's success, Ma became one of China's richest men and a global celebrity. But it all changed in October 2020. That day, Jack attended a business summit and gave a speech in which he said,
要依靠信用体系的发展。今天的银行延续的还是当铺思想，抵押和担保就是当铺，这在当年是很先进的。
Basically, he argued that Chinese banks aren't innovative enough, have a lack of vision, and compared them to pawn shops when it comes to lending funds to entrepreneurs. But Jack didn't stop there. He also told the public that government regulations were too strict and needed to be shaken up. These statements won't raise an eyebrow in the US or other Western countries. However, in China, you do not criticize the government. You don't criticize anything. Jack appears to have forgotten that for a moment. As soon as he finished that speech, he was called to a meeting at government offices in Beijing. That was the last sign of him. Jack completely disappeared. Just a few days before, Ant Group, another company Jack founded, was planning to go public on the stock exchange for an unprecedented amount of $37 billion in one of the largest deals ever seen. But the launch didn't happen. China's president, Xi Jinping, personally torpedoed it. The enterprise was broken up and its operations were split into different companies. As a result, from a company worth $300 billion, it is now worth less than $30 billion, a fraction of its previous value. A few days after, Jack's business school for young entrepreneurs was closed down and he was kicked out from his own reality show. But that was not the end of it. Alibaba faced billions of fines and parts of its operations were cut. Jack's entire legacy was destroyed in a matter of days. Ma was rumored to be under house arrest or living in exile, and some speculated he'd fled China. However, many believed that Jack was already dead. There was no doubt the Chinese government sent a strong message to all its citizens, especially to those who mistakenly believed they had any influence or power. The message was simple: if you don't maintain loyalty to the government, you'll be left with nothing. But where is Jack?
Jack Ma hasn't been seen in public, and now many are questioning, where is Jack Ma?
In early 2021, he made a brief appearance for the first time in 3 months. Sort of. A bizarre 48-second video showing him at a school in a remote village was released by the government.
Billionaire founder Jack Ma made his first public appearance since October. Ma spoke to rural teachers as part of his charity foundation, and a recording of that video call was first posted on a news portal backed by a Chinese provincial government.
Many think this footage looks like a hostage video. Jack's language and the image of a re-educated billionaire promising charitable donations is exactly what President Xi Jinping wanted the people to see. Jack was put in his place, and he will be a good boy now. So where's Jack Ma? That's the scary part. No one really knows for sure. In May this year, the Chinese state media reported that an individual surnamed Ma in the city of Hangzhou, where Alibaba is based, had been detained on national security grounds. The news caused a frantic public response and a panic in the stock market, sending Alibaba's stock plunging and wiping out $26 billion from the company value in a matter of minutes. However, once everything had settled down, it became clear that the man arrested was not Jack Ma. It appears Jack made a deal with the government to transfer most of his Ant Group shares to other executives. As a result of this deal, he will become just a small shareholder of the company, instead of the company's primary shareholder, with no decision-making rights. In exchange for giving up his power, Ma was recently able to escape Beijing and take a weeks-long tour of Europe. He has popped up at restaurants in Austria, toured a university in the Netherlands to learn about sustainable agriculture, and docked his yacht off the Spanish island of Mallorca. But what is next for Jack Ma? It's anyone's guess. The Chinese government has a different set of rules than ours, making it extremely volatile and unexpected. But the real problem no one talks about is how much we depend on this insane regime. If you want to learn what will happen to all of us if China crashes, click the window on the right for my next video.